Hi, I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, thanks for watching the video. Fair warning before we get into this that this might potentially contain some spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home and some of the upcoming films from the MCU and Marvel. If you want to avoid those, put this in your watch later queue and come back later. If not, let's jump right into it. So in my last video I talked about the potential for the Kingpin to have seen the unmasking of Spider-Man by J. Jonah Jameson in the Mysterio video. In one more day, this unmasking led to a hit being put out on Peter Parker and his family, with a sniper eventually shooting Aunt May center mass. And this in turn took Peter Parker to Doctor Strange for help. And it could be many people, but what if that shooter is Kraven? Let's work through this together here. So as of this video, Spider-Man Far From Home, the second in the Disney-Sony collaboration starring Tom Holland as the titular character, has pulled in over $185 million domestically and right around $600 million worldwide for its box office gross, and mind you, it's still early in the run, along with a slew of first and second place rankings on various box office charts. In other words, this movie is a massive success. It's fair to say that director Jon Watts, who also directed 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming, now has the keys to the proverbial Sony castle and the blessing and trust of MCU helmer Kevin Feige in regard to his direction for old Peter Tingle. Now, in fairness, so let's temper our expectations here, Kraven might not be the primary villain in a third Tom Holland solo outing film, but he could be part of a rogues gallery, perhaps a cameo that will lead into something that we'll talk about in a second. And this could include the likes of the Sinister Six. We've seen many characters already, Mephisto, and even more Jameson armed with the immense power of the press. Mike Ryan from the website Uprocks was talking with Jon Watts recently about his critical and financial success and what might potentially be next for old Webhead, and he said this: "Oh, I would love Kraven. It's just a trick of how you do Kraven in a movie." Notice he said how, not if. So here's the immediate issue with this, but again, with Watts' success, this might be something that they could easily work around. Sony has a Kraven movie currently in development. In October of 2018, Richard Wank revealed that not only is he working on a script, but that it would adapt the classic Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, which is one of my favorites, by the way. Richard Wank is the same Wank that worked on The Equalizer, along with the director the studio wants to bring on board, Anton Fuqua. Sony also snuck in an Easter egg for Kraven on the Morbius set that filmed in Manchester, England a few months ago. It's a commercial delivery truck you can see here for a Kraven catering service. But do these things preclude Kraven's use in a Watts Spider-Man 3? Well, no. Precedence has been set for sharing of characters and overlapping storylines already. I mean, look at Spider-Man himself, look at Happy and Iron Man and Nick Fury, and even Ned Leeds, Maria Hill. There's verbal references to Thor and Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, and these have all been shared between the two studios, so why couldn't they do this with Kraven as well? Newman Akar played a character named Dimitri in Spider-Man Far From Home, and interestingly, he's not listed with a last name, he's just Dimitri. And like Ned Leeds isn't a villain yet. In the MCU, he's basically a driver tasked by Fury and Hill with keeping an eye on Parker during his post-blip class trip through Europe. In comic books, Dimitri is the half-brother of Sergei Kravinoff, the man known as Kraven the Hunter, and Dimitri in his own right becomes a villain as well, a man of many faces named Chameleon. Kraven himself first appeared in 1964 in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 15, having come from the minds of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Kraven would go on to become one of Spider-Man's greatest foes and Spider-Man Kraven's elusive Moby Dick. The history is there, and the stories are there to use as well. Okay, so let's just have some fun here, but here's how a plot could go from the end of Far From Home on. J. Jonah Jameson reveals Spider-Man, and Kingpin sees the news announcement. Maybe, and this particular detail could change, to Fury or his brother Chameleon working with S.H.I.E.L.D. So after seeing the video that Mysterio doctors and then subsequently leaks, calls up Kraven to hunt down the Spider-Man. He might end up shooting Aunt May, which drives Peter to Doctor Strange for a one more day type of moment that erases people's memories of his unmasking and his true identity. But maybe Kraven dies and is resurrected by, say, the Tahiti tech, his body brought back in by his brother Dimitri, currently employed by S.H.I.E.L.D., his memory preserved by way of dying, and goes on his last hunt when he comes back in the Kraven movie as the only one who remembers Spidey's true identity. This could be why Dimitri is working for Fury and Hill, and also why they showed Fury on a Tahitian beach in the end credits scene. Tahitian tech, which brought back Agent Coulson, would also be able to fix Aunt May, of course, but it wouldn't solve the identity reveal issue like Mephisto could. For more on that, see my previous video. Oh, and I know I said this already, but it bears repeating. Jon Watts wants Kraven next. He's brought in about $1.5 billion on Spidey, so the studios are definitely listening to what he's saying and what he wants. But nothing is certain at this point, so maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. But I want to know, what do you think of this information, this potential news? Who would you like to see cast as Kraven the Hunter? Who would you like to see as a villain in Spider-Man 3? Go ahead and leave your comments down below and let's continue the conversation there. If you're here and enjoy videos like this and haven't already done so, don't forget to subscribe as we upload new content every week. That's it, my friends, for this one. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.